we've got a caller on the line now from Burlington, North Carolina. John, you're on the air. You've got a similar question. You want to talk about tithing as well?
Yeah, I do. But listen, I would like to just thank you for your comments. I listened just a few minutes ago when you were talking about when you were in Greece, and because I grew up, I'm actually a prodigal son that came back around later in life. But I remember being 18 and finally feeling like, well, God, I can't. I'm not making a difference anyway. I can't make the mark no matter how hard I try. I so appreciated what you shared with the public, talking about, you're running up to somebody, it made you feel better, but in reality, is that really what it's about, following Christ? And I can affirm in my own walk, it is not, and I appreciate that testimony. But my question now, and I think you've already answered it. A friend told me there's nothing in the Bible that talks about, and he gives a lot more than 10%. You want to give in the same way I'm that way now. It's like, Lord blesses you with something you want to further the kingdom.
Yes.
Because this is real. This ain't Disneyland. This ain't,
Yes.
I mean, if Jesus came out of the grave, this is all true, correct?
Right.
But can you answer that question?
Sure.
Is it true that it's nothing in there about 10%?
Right.
And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
All right, John. Thanks for your call and your comments and your encouragement there. Yeah, your friend is absolutely correct that in any New Testament epistle, in the letters of Paul, in the letters of James, John, in the letters of Peter, there's no mandate for Christians to give 10%. There's no instruction from an apostle that says you need to give this percentage. It's just not there. Now, people say, oh, what about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Yeah, there's 3 or 4 passages in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John where Jesus is addressing Jews and specifically Pharisees who are beating their chest and bragging about their tithing. And in fact, they're tithing dill and cumin and spices. And Jesus is saying they're neglecting weightier matters of the law. Now, notice Jesus' words. He calls tithing a matter of the law. So he is showing them their hypocrisy. They are tithing their dill, their cumin, their spices, but they're neglecting things like mercy and justice and other weightier matters of what? Weightier matters of the law. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Jesus thought that tithing was a matter of the law, and it was. But we Christians are not under the law. We are dead to the law, free from the law. Christ is the end of the law. So you say, well, what do? Well, we give from the heart. Well, I don't know if my church can survive if everybody just gave from the heart. Well, let me tell you the result of this tithing teaching. This tithing teaching is perpetuated all across the United States and beyond. 50% of church members give nothing at all. And the other 50% average 3% of their income. So what I'm saying is when half of the church gives nothing and the other half averages 3%, then this tithing teaching is not working anyway. It is unsuccessful. And when you just called in, you said, I've got a friend who tells me 10% tithe is not in the New Testament epistles. And you said he gives more. He gives way more than that. Well, great. That's a testimony to someone who's living from the heart. But we're also free to give less. See, what we don't understand sometimes is that we are failing to esteem someone's gift. When we tell them 9% doesn't count, 7% is not enough, 4%, well, you might as well not give at all because God's not pleased. When we teach a 10% standard, then those who are giving less, what happens is they feel like real zeros. So what we need to be doing is esteeming anyone's gift. Anyone who is giving from the heart, well, that's their business. It's between them and God. So there's freedom in living and freedom in giving. The grace message does not stop when you pull out your wallet. It is the same gospel of grace from start to finish.